I call Lord Beith to ask the first oral question.
I beg leave to ask the question standing in my name on the order paper.
I call the Minister, Baroness Veer of Norbiton.
My Lords, my department has had regular discussions with London North Eastern Railways, or LNER, about the May 2022 timetable proposals for the East Coast Main Line. LNER and the department are committed to improving services for passengers served by this important route, and I would encourage all noble lords with an interest to engage with LNER's public consultation to ensure that their views are considered.
But, my lords, the consultation document to which she has referred says that the structure of the timetable for May 2022 is fixed, which leaves little opportunity for change to be made. Given that it involves halving Berwick-upon-Tweed's hourly service to London to a train every 2 hours with longer journey times, can the Minister assure me that she will personally take steps to secure a proper review of these plans, which cannot be squared with the government's levelling up agenda?
My Lords, the Rail Minister has challenged the department to investigate all options for increasing regional connectivity. It is the case that Berwick-upon-Tweed will retain its current level of service, but there will be a change to the balance of the services. So yes, there will be fewer fast trains to London. However, there will be more services to Midlands and the South West on cross-country.
The Lord Bishop of Durham.
My Lords, I declare an interest as a regular LNER user, and I have a lot of sympathy with the noble Lord Beith. I recognise that connections from Darlington, Durham and Newcastle are northwards as well as southwards. Will the Minister comment on how local services, such as those from Bishop Auckland to Middlesbrough and the possible reopening of Durham to Sunderland, need to be invested in for the economic growth of the North East as a whole?
My Lords, this government is investing billions of pounds in the railways, particularly in the north, obviously through the Restoring Your Railway Fund, but also through the other schemes that we are bringing through the rail network enhancements pipeline. Of course, we are looking at regional connectivity of the type that he has mentioned, and I will take his comments back to the department.
Lord Mackay of Clashfern.
My Lords, as a resident of Inverness, I have a great interest in being sure that there will be one train each way from Inverness to King's Cross in the future.
My Lords, I'd like to reassure my noble and learned friend that there are daily services at the moment between Inverness and King's Cross, as he knows, and these will and are proposed to remain in operation under the May 2022 proposals.
My Lords, I declare an interest. I live 1.5 miles from Berwick Station, and most of us find these cuts to be so stringent in terms of the daytime, from a train every hour to a slower train every 2 hours. Locals are shocked, businesses, tourism, residents, of whom I'm one of them, knowing that actually it's good to use the train instead of our cars because of the environment, that it is good to do this. How can we have confidence that these services actually, which are so slashing the service for us to use them, will the government really look carefully on what is being proposed, and since this is a public utility, for them as guardians to protect it? And I just hope this is not the beginning of the resurrection of the spirit of Richard Beeching.
I do welcome the noble Lord Sentami back to your Lordship's house, and in doing so I recognise the concerns he has raised about Berwick-upon-Tweed, and I'm sure that he will join many other people in responding to the consultation. And it is true that we have had to make difficult trade-offs within the timetabling options, given the capacity that is available. But what we're trying to do is maximise the benefit of the £4 billion that we have invested in infrastructure and in rolling stock. And the proposals on the table now actually increase revenues by £60 million a year. So therefore, we do feel that we are getting good return on taxpayer funding.
Baroness Quinn.
My Lords, although the LNER proposals do help my local station Alnmouth, which I am pleased about, nonetheless I do support the comments by my fellow Northumbrians, the Noble Lord Beith and the Noble Lord Centimue. And surely if levelling up means anything other than warm words, we need far quicker action on both rail and road network investment north of Newcastle.
The Noble Lady is quite right in that we do have an ambitious programme both in the rail sector but also roads. The Noble Lady will know that we're already, we have a programme of work on the A1 and several projects around the North East. So she makes a very, very important point, and the government is well aware of the opportunities to invest in the North East.
It's estimated that Berwick could see a cut of 72 trains a week. Does the Noble Lady, the Minister, agree this is totally contrary to the principles behind the government's transport decarbonisation plan, totally contrary to the principles behind levelling up? And the root cause of the problems is inadequate infrastructure capacity, long past its date for upgrading. What is the government going to do about that?
Well, the government has already and is investing billions of pounds in the railway system and including in the North East. And the Noble Lady has once again mentioned the changes to the services in Berwick, so I perhaps won't dwell on that because I believe I've covered that. But I will say that, you know, there are always difficult decisions to make. And for example, Edinburgh gets more services out of this, which improves union connectivity. Edinburgh will have additional faster trains to London. There'll be a 4-hour journey time. And that, of course, will be highly competitive versus taking an aircraft.
Lord Rosser.
Yes, as part of these proposed timetable changes, which LNER say, quote, involve a series of trade-offs, close quote, services on the Trans-Pennine Express between Newcastle and Manchester will be reduced from twice an hour to once an hour, and an increase in the frequency of services between Teesside, Sunderland and Newcastle will be postponed. Given that Northern Powerhouse Rail has still not been confirmed, is this not further evidence that the government is backing off on increasing direct interconnectivity of northern cities? And is it not unfortunate that in the trade-offs, it's local and regional services that would lose out in order to increase services to London and the South East?
I'm not entirely sure that the evidence supports what the Noble Lord said in his last comment, but I do accept that there are difficult trade-offs. Railway capacity is not expandable immediately, and so one always has to work with the capacity that one has available. It is the case that we have spent £4 billion on upgrading the infrastructure and also the rolling stock, and what we must do is make sure that we use that capacity to best effect. And as I've already said, there would be a significant increase in revenues from these proposals.
McIntosh of Pickering.
The LNER services from Northallerton, my local station, and Darlington southwards are being severely cut in the 2022 timetable. Darlington to Stockton was the first railway line in the country and serves very much the levelling up programme. Effectively, the government owns LNER, so please can they actually help to make sure that we have the effective service that we currently have carried over to 2022?
Well, of course, as the Noble Lady, my noble friend will know that there will be some service changes, and she has outlined what they are, as have many other noble lords. And of course, other areas will see an increase in services. But I would reiterate, there is an opportunity to respond to the consultation, and I know that my colleague in the department is pressing Network Rail, the train operating companies and our officials very hard to make sure that we can retain as much regional connectivity as possible.
Lord Berkeley.
My Lords, following on my noble friend Lord Ross's remarks, is the Minister aware of a comment by Transport for the North recently in Rail magazines, which states, and I quote, that the East Coast Main Line revisions means that the North East is losing trains to Leeds, Manchester and Edinburgh in favour of more trains to London, and that this does not reflect the levelling up agenda. Would the Minister agree that it's important to focus on the local and regional services where actually the demand is greatest?
Unfortunately, I didn't see that comment, as I don't read the Rail magazine, but potentially I should. But you know, we have to reach a balance here, and it cannot be sort of focused specifically on only one type of travel. So what we have tried to do, indeed LNER has tried to do, is to get the right balance to ensure that we are meeting customer demand and that we are providing value for money for the taxpayer.
Folks have come up.
My Lord, the 9:30 from Edinburgh to King's Cross yesterday, on which I was due to travel, was cancelled. And the stories going around were that this was because there are continuing problems with cracks in the Azuma trains, which would be extremely worrying. Can the Minister confirm whether this is the case?
I can confirm that in the first instance, obviously, safety is absolutely paramount on our railways. At the moment, there is just one LNER set out of service. Repairs are obviously ongoing and will probably be finished by the end of the summer. But I'd like to just reassure all noble lords that this is being done in a safe fashion and to minimise the disruption for passengers.